Welcome to Cage Minds, Micah Frankel, and I am here with one of the world famous belt collectors that MMA has. You guys know him as the Spaniard. He's Juan Archuleta, ahead of Borroka presents XFC 53 in Las Vegas. How you doing, champ?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure to get to talk to you. An interview that I've wanted to do for a long time. Real quick, gotta before we talk
Yeah.
about the future and everything, gotta take you back in time. 2017. I don't know if you remember this. Vince Murdoch totally misses weight. You were supposed to defend your title in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. I'm out here in Albuquerque. I almost got to see you fight live.
Yeah, man, that was a bummer. I had missed my brother's wedding because of that fight.
So you miss your brother's
Yeah,
wedding,
and I
and
was
then you don't
just
even
like,
get to fight.
hmm and I don't even get to fight, bro. I was so sad. I was like, man, for one, I wanted to fight because like that's where my whole family's from. That's where my last name originates from. And then to not even fight and miss my brother's wedding, bro, I was so sad. I was like, oh man, like come on.
So the origins of Archuleta come from New Mexico.
House, New Mexico. Yep, that's where the Spaniards, the conquistadors, had settled down over there. And then, yeah, they protected the Pueblo Indian with Captain Oñate against Captain Oñate, and then yeah, our last name just carried through all through Albuquerque, Taos, Santa Fe, all through the Archuleta Plains up there in the northern New Mexico, all that.
Can't say I've definitely known a few Archuletas in my day growing up here.
Yeah, heck yeah.
XFC, you're going to be defending your Borroka title. How's it feeling back to fighting in America? We saw you with the stint there in Rizin. What is it like being back home?
Yeah, it's definitely nice. Like I don't have to take the 10-hour flight, go up there 11 days, 12 days ahead, and then I'm traveling to the future because Japan's a day ahead of us, so it's the land of the rising sun. So the day starts there, and my body just gets all twacked out of whack. And then, I traveled there for freaking, I spent 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 hours on the airplane one year, and I was just like, man, my last fight with Kyle Sakura, my body just couldn't handle it no more. I couldn't cut the weight anymore. So then I moved up, and I was just like, man, and then it still took a toll on me. Yeah, it was crazy. But I'm glad to be here. First time in Las Vegas. I'm super excited.
You did get to move back up and weight, do it here. What does it feel like being a full fledged 45? Or we know throughout your career 55, 45, 35, it doesn't matter. You fought all over the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And then cutting that down to 35, it was like suppressing my manhood, like you start getting in your mid 30s, and that's when like your man strain starts coming into play. But I was suppressing it for so long. I was working out like 5 times a day just to make the weight, and then like restricting myself on caloric diet. Or caloric deficit, I'm sorry, throughout the day, being on 1,400 to 1,700 calories, just fluctuating through that. It was tough, man. And then, so you could tell that like the suppression of my manhood was like coming down. Now, just letting it go. I had to make that adjustment of like, can't get too big, but also like letting my body just become natural at a natural weight.
Does 45 feel natural to you? This isn't too light, too heavy?
No, yeah, it's like I wrestled 141 in college too, and that's where I felt like really strong. But yeah, 45, it's still a good weight cut. But it's definitely if I feel strong at this weight class.
145, you come out of the gates hot with the flying knee knockout. I've seen one other in Bellator with Eduardo Dantes. Was this one or that one the best knockout of your career?
Definitely the flying knee. I mean, I can't take away from the Dantes knockout because it was the end of the second round and it was in Madison Square Garden. Like, man, that's just like picture perfect, right? You just for one to fight in Madison Square Gardens, like a humbling experience in itself. And then to get a walk off like that and just hear the bell ring and the crowd erupt, that was pretty iconic, you know. Um, but this was just like almost like who gets to hit a flying knee and get Jorge other than Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, other than Jorge Masvidal getting a walk off, you know, and I get to join that club.
You hit the flying knee. At what point do you know he's out? Like you land that connection as he's pummeling. Are you like, whoa? Like, how does it process for you? Is it almost in slow motion? What's going on?
Yeah, for us, the whole fight's in slow motion. You know, nothing else exists other than the fight going on when you're in the cage. Just because the way they set up the lights, everything is geared towards your surrounding being like black. Everything's blacked out, and in the cage and in the ring, like whenever you're fighting, everything's like the middle of the cage is lit up. So nothing else exists behind you. And so when you're fighting, you're just in a flow state of mind that things are just slowing down. So when I jumped and hit that knee, I almost like stayed in the air for like what felt like an eternity, like boom, and then like everything slows down and I just feel him go limp and like his energy just leaves him and you're just like, whoa. And then you just like I just like pushed him down and I just see him fall. I was just like, wow, that was crazy. And then I was like, it's over, you know, and then I watched it on the film and everything happened so fast. I was like, whoa, that was crazy. That did not seem like that happened that fast.
At that point, coming back to America, brand new promotion, fighting in Laughlin, Nevada. Like, does it feel like everything comes together when you put on a performance as you did?
Yeah, I mean, that whole fight card was supposed to like was starting to fall apart at the end, you know, like and things started happening. And then thankfully for Randall, he like stuck through it and like somehow made it happen. And then everything about that was like a lead up to like, man, you got to be freaking kidding me! I'm finally back in America and this stuff is happening. And then he's like, hey, the fight's going on, you know. You're like, all right, screw it, let's do it. And then to get a viral knockout like that, and everything just get blasted and just propel not just myself but the promotion and everything forward. And for this fight to take place in the Virgin Hotel, to be part of the XFC, and for the them to start the merger together, like everything just happened from that night, and it's amazing to see that, you know.
It's a position that isn't unfamiliar for you to carry the flag of a promotion. Four division champion in King of the Cage, a Gladiator championship, a Bellator championship, a Rizin championship. Heck, I got two that I saw in your topology that I'm not even sure what promotion they actually are, like CFL or ETL. There's a couple. You have carried the
Yeah,
flag for so many promotions. You're used to this.
yeah, definitely. And then it takes a lot of commitment on the promotions end. Like these guys put their hearts and soul into it, you know, and it's just like you're stuck with fighters that want an opportunity but don't want the opportunity. It's kind of weird, you know, because it's like, hey man, I'm providing you an opportunity to fight Juan Archuleta, like, and you're turning this down, like, and you're saying that, oh, you know, I want to get into the UFC, I'm ready for the UFC, but then you don't want to fight this guy, and then like, you know, because we're trying to make new exciting fights happen. We have fights that were like, hey, this guy wants to rematch you, you know, would you take this rematch? I'm like, I don't know if it's good for mine and your promotion to do a rematch. You know, I don't think it propels me anywhere, and I don't think it propels your promotion anywhere. Like, let's get new, exciting fights happening. You know, so for this guy to take the fight and coming from the UFC, it makes it that much more important for myself to win this fight and for the promotion to have like, hey, this is an old Bellator fighter, an old UFC fighter. Let's see who's better and let's see who gets advanced to the next stage of their career, you know?
Jose Johnson, an experienced competitor, a guy that's like yourself, 35, 45, 55. Unlike you, though, 6 foot tall. What makes the challenge of fighting someone that tall unique, and how do you approach it?
Yeah, it's a different style that I haven't fought. I've never fought a guy that's 6 foot yet. And so actually I think I fought a guy in Lithuania. And but guys like this, I mean, they're definitely a puzzle to figure out, especially when you get in there with the range. I know he's used to to fighting guys that are explosive, that are fast. So so what he has seen before, like that's kind of the things I bring to the table. So he's going to be used to it, but is he I don't know if he's going to be ready for the championship level that I have that bring that type of intimidation factor. Because I hit hard, I'm fast, I'm explosive, I'm able to hit and give it back, So I fought guys like Patricio Pitbull, and like all these champions that I've fought, Sergio Pettis, Rufion Stotts, like these guys have hit me, and that's just being right back in there and being right back. So I'm excited to see where my level and his level clash at, and who's able to stay standing.
You've won so many titles. It just dawned on me to ask this. Is there a specific room? Did the fireplace like collapse from the mantle being too heavy? Are they just falling out of cabinets? Do you know where all these belts are?
Yeah, I put a majority of them at the training lab, because they've helped me a lot in the beginning of the career and working with them. Now, like the last Bellator, Rizin actually is the only promotion that took their belt back, and I was like, hey man, like I won that belt, like that's unfair. Like I get to that was for that belt was for that fight. But they give trophies out, and it's not the same as a belt because I can't like let people experience it. So that's kind of a bummer. But I got to go back in there and say like the worst case scenario happens and I don't get to get signed with the UFC, which is what I'm hoping for. I go back and Rizin and win that 45 title.
The UFC, obviously, that mantle, you fought all around the world. Is that's still a goal?
Yeah, man. I got when I started my career, I came to a fork in the road when I was 17-1, leaving King of the Cage because I felt like I was ready. Then I came to a fork in the road where it's like my manager was like, "Hey, do you want to go to UFC or Bellator? Like, what do you want?" I said, honestly, I want to be like very ready when I get into the UFC. Like, I want to walk away from it when my UFC stint is done. Like, I don't want to go back and say, "Oh, okay, like I need to go back and do these things, and then maybe I could get back into the UFC." For me, I wanted to be absolutely ready to make a title run when I got there. So when I hit that fork in the road where it's Bellator or UFC, it's not that I said, "Oh no, I'd rather go Bellator. I don't want to go UFC." I always wanted to go UFC, but I wanted to be 100% ready when I got in there to make my noise and my title run. And so that's why I went to the Bellator route. And then I started getting paid very well. And then I started fighting for titles. I mean, I fought Patricio, then I fought Patchy, then I fought Sergio, then I fought Rufion. So I had 4 title fights that were there. And then, then I had my 2 title fights with Rizin. So I had 6 title fights, that was just like, I got stuck in that, like fighting the best competition. And then the guys that I wasn't fighting with for title contenders. So I needed to take a step back to prove to myself that, okay, I can still finish guys. I can still compete at a high level. And that's what these fights are proving to myself as. So when I step into UFC and I'm, say they throw me in against a top 15, top 10 guy, I'm like, okay, cool. I still know I could finish these guys. Now we're fighting and playing for keeps on these ones that are the top 10, the top 15 guys.
Throughout your career, there's been a lot of transitions, changes. I also heard recently now with Bloodline and also taking a big role inside of the gym.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodline. So I've been with Cub Swanson since the beginning of my career. Like when I came out to work with Joe Daddy Stevenson, he directed me down with Cub when he was fighting Frankie Edgar. He's like, "Hey, go work with this guy," and I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, I was like, "Am I staying there?" And he was like, "Just take clothes just in case." So I met Cub. He's like, "All right, hey, let's work out," and I was like, "All right." And then pretty much we were like, "Hey, we're just try to take me down." I was like, "Oh, all right." So I was like taking him down, and like he was like beating me up on my feet, and I was like, okay, like, and I started, and then we went to his house. He went in his room, and I was just like stuck in his living room for a little bit. I said, "Hey, are we gonna train tonight?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to stay, you can stay, and then we'll train tomorrow in the morning again." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I called my wife. I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna stay here for a couple days." She's like, "All right." So then me and Cub started really bonding. And then like his work ethic was the same as mine. Like show up, train, go back home, relax. Show up, train, go back home, relax. And so we got into this real good groove where we trusted each other. We weren't hurting each other. We were both good training partners for him. He was pretty much taking my level of striking through the roof, and then I was taking his level of wrestling through the roof because I came from Purdue. And then so throughout this whole career, he's been part of my success. And so just piggybacking off him, his career, And then now he's like, hey, help me with this, with these guys. My Kami, rest in peace, he passed away, so he inherited this management role while still fighting. And a bunch of guys started coming, and so now we have this group of guys that are like tremendous. We have Chapolin, Eduardo Chapolin, fighting tonight on Contender. He just won 2 weeks ago, won the LFA, defended his LFA title. He lost to the champion at the Ultimate Fighter. So he's fighting tonight. We got Larion Douglas fighting in the Contender Series next week. We got guys, Danny Silva, we had Dan Agueda, Chris Macate, myself, Arnold Jimenez. Like, we have a lot of good group of guys that are just building off each other. So this is where my role came in, and he's just like, I was done after, my loss, my stint, and after I lost to Ty, I was like, man, I'm done. Like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. It's just like the guys I was around, the environment. It wasn't fun anymore for me. So Cubs just said, hey, come in and help these guys. Like, be part of the team, just show up for their fights, take a year off, see where you're at from here. And then that's when Borroka fell in my lap, and Randall, good friend of mine, was just like, hey, let's get you back on track. Let's get you a couple wins and talk to the UFC, see if we can get you signed from there.
Also, you brought up the wrestling, you brought up Purdue. Didn't hear you bring up, though, I heard wrestling is kind of re-entered your life again, that you're doing some coaching at Orange Lutheran, I believe, and your son is a freshman there.
Yeah, so I've been coaching at St. John Bosco for the last 10 years, and then all boys school, private school, top 3 in the state. Um, but for my son, I was like, man, I want to keep him somewhere close to my house, because I don't want to drive all the way to Whittier. It's like a 40-minute drive with traffic, So Orange Lutheran with Coach Heber and Cash Quiroga, who wrestled with me at Purdue, were the coaches there. They said, hey, let's bring you guys into Orange Lutheran, and we go from here. And so I was like, all right, let's run it. So Orange Lutheran, shout out to them. They're a private school. We're building up the wrestling program there, and we're gonna have some good success here. My son's excited. My son's just as big as me now, so 143 pounds, getting bigger, taller than me. So yeah, just showing them the ropes now.
What does this mean to you that you're able to have that experience to be with him through this high school endeavor?
It's awesome, because the road that I've taken, I try to practice what I preach. A lot of coaches just preach, like, do this, do that, do this. And it's like, well, what the fuck have you done, man? Like, geez, bro, you're telling me to do all these things. Like, you come and train with me then. So my son, when I tell him to do something, he knows that I'm doing it with him. He knows that I'm going along this journey with him. So it's a little more of that fine respect, where we have that father-son relationship, and then he also looks up to me as a mentor to say, like, damn, he's right. Like, if I want to be a champion, I have to make these sacrifices. I have to do these things. And I tell him, it's up to you. When you need my help, let me know. When you want, because I'm more trial by error. You go in there, you make the mistakes. It's how we fix your mistakes, that how to become a man and how to stay so excited about the sport.
How big has wrestling been for you?
It's been everything. It's been part of my whole life. My dad wrestled. 4 of my older brothers wrestled. I was the 5th one coming up, and then it's all I've known, all I've breathed, all I wake up to thinking about. It's everything.
Juan Archuleta, the Spaniard, the belt collector. How much pride do you have in that there's more promotions than I can remember that you have their title?
Yeah, man, it's cool, because I've been a part of a history that can't be erased. The first guy to own 4 belts for one promotion, and just to have that behind me. One day I could look back and just be able to tell that story to guys that are up and coming, and then be like, how'd you do it? It's just like not being afraid to take fights, like not being afraid of opportunity, man. Come on, you have to take these opportunities when they come, because they don't stick around. So and that's where I come in strong with these guys, where I could tell them direct without having to beat around the bush. Well, I think it's this and that. It's like, no, hey, look, you have to take these opportunities, because I did, and this was my career, this was my path, and it's been done before because I did it. So that's what it means, and that's what it means when I start coaching these guys, that I could ask them for something that seems impossible, but they know it's possible because I accomplished it.
Borroka presents XFC 53 Virgin's Hotel. You could be there live in Las Vegas if you're local. Always love to fly out to Las Vegas. Uh, can you land that flying knee 6 feet up?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm definitely not afraid to throw it, but there's gonna be some transition periods where the knee is gonna present itself. Um, but it has to come at the right timing. It might even be a different knockout that I'm looking for, but in the fight, everything happens for a reason, and you have to be ready to throw whatever mean necessary.
Do you feel like the wrestling that's going to be an obvious decisive advantage in your realm, especially looking at the troubles that Jose had in his most recent losses?
Yeah, but you look at Jose and you stay on those legs, he's gonna elbow you, and he has some vicious downward elbows, especially because 12-6 is legal now. That kind of keeps me at bay and kind of intimidates the wrestling shots in on him, just because how lethal he is with those. So it's definitely going to be a tricky way to figure out how to get him off his feet and put him on his back. But if anyone's capable of doing it, I'm definitely capable of putting him on his back. But I know there's going to be some vicious elbows coming my way when I enter into that realm. So, and this is what makes it exciting. This is why I wake up every day training my ass off, because this guy's coming to knock me out.
Street Fighter 2, who's your character?
Oh, Vega, the only Spanish guy on the team, or on the game.
Had to ask. And then
But the story that I do like is the Ken and Ryu, because that's the story that I'm living, right? Like, and you look at my career, like that's my story, man. Like you got two guys in the story Street Fighter that are going and traveling the world and just looking to fight the best guys in the world. They're not signed to anything big. They're just going out to try to find the best competition and learn people's culture. And that's a piece of me that I have followed. And it's been cool because that's how me and Cub kind of look at each other, like Ken and Ryu. Like we're brothers, and then we're out there traveling the world, experiencing martial arts, and it's teaching us to be the men that we are.
it'll be cool the day that we see Juan Archuleta fighting in the UFC, but he needs to get up the card quick, because if you don't have signature trunks right away, it's just not going to be the same as all the glorious ones that we've got to see you don in Bellator.
Yeah, and that's gonna have to be ASAP. So I'm gonna have to get in there and get bark my name up that tree right away. I think one exciting matchup that people would like to see right off the bat, if I do make the UFC, would be like a Dan Ige fight. I think me and him will put on a good fight.
Definitely, you get into the octagon. I don't think there's a feeling out process. The Bellator resume, the Rizin resume, I think that means that shoots you right into the mix the minute you enter.
Yeah, I think so too. And not only just the Bellator banner, having the Ryzen banner as well. Like, man, this guy, like, it's definitely like, especially the way the landscape's looking, because they're not going to do pay-per-view anymore. They don't need it. So now it's just storytelling. Now they're trying to get the best fighters from all over the world so they could tell a story. Now I think that's where the landscape's going with moving into this next chapter of the UFC. Is like, cool, we don't need to sell UFC anymore. Now we need to sell the back to the promotion end, where we need to get people excited. So how do you get people excited? Hey, we got a guy that has won 10 titles throughout his career. Every promotion he fought for, he won a title in. Now, bringing that story into the UFC, and can Juan come into the UFC and finish off his career by, challenging for a title or even making the title picture? That's yet to be determined.
One more viral knockout like we saw at the last Borroka event, and we're going to get to see that story play out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I agree.
Juan Archuleta, truly a pleasure. This has been a long time coming. I appreciate you, Slayer.
Of course. Thank you.
Again, guys, Borroka presents XFC 53. Be in sports is how you're going to be able to watch it. Thank you again, Juan.
Heck yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your audience for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's go.